Hello, if you want to watch exclusive lemon content on What If Naruto, then go to my Boosty. The first link in the description here contains such hot stories for adults, such as What If Naruto Was a Daddy for Sarada, or Kushina and Mikoto Vulgar Naruto Mommies. Follow the link and enjoy. I'm waiting for you.
I hope you are in Viv mode. As you can see here, I leave you with a new chapter of Mario series, and without anything else to say, I leave you with the video. Team 7 is currently in the final battle with Zabuza's group. The battle is one of cannons until Zabuza is pinned down by dogs. All other battles and situations are the same as before. Get ready to die. Kakashi screamed as he ran towards Zabuza's broken form with his hand covered in electricity due to his Chidori. Of course, Naruto's friend opponent saw this and rushed to take the hit for his master. Fortunately, Kakashi saw them coming and managed to move his hand enough for it to go through the shoulder, not the heart. But the force made Aku scream in pain. "I always knew you'd make a good mistress," Zabuza said with an indifferent smile, and then raised his sword with the intention of cutting Aku and Kakashi in half a move. That Kakashi dodges by taking Aku out of reach. Kakashi then gently places Aku on the bridge before refocusing on the fight. "Damn it! How dare you do that to your own teammate?" Naruto yelled at him, causing him to let out a sadistic laugh. "Boy, just get a gun for me. I don't care what happens to a gun after it did its job, and now that it's broken, it's useless to me," Zabuza said. He then noticed the birds chirping behind him. Before he said the man could do anything, Kakashi pierced Zabuza in a lung, causing a slower death to be aimed at the heart again. Of course, none of them noticed the intention of the killer Kide now on escaping from Naruto, or the chakra starting to form around his body. "Well, it looks like we're done here," Kakashi said to himself, until he saw a giant army of mercenaries on the other side of the bridge. "Shit, I don't have enough chakra to fight all of them. Even though I am good at taijutsu, I will eventually be defeated by the large number of them," Kakashi thought, worried, seeing that it looked like he was about to die with his team. "Thank you, Konoha Ninja, for dealing with the fog demon. Now be good, and let my men kill you," Rato said to Kakashi, then turned to his army and continued talking. "Men, bring me the ninja heads, and while you're at it, get rid of the city. I got what I need from him. I don't care what they do to civilians, just get rid of them, except for the old bridge builder and his family. I want you to watch while I destroy them," Rato said wickedly, and then watched them all start charging towards the bridge until a single arrow hit the ground in front of them. "We won't let you take the village, cat," one of the villagers shouted at him, making everyone realize that on the other side of the bridge was most of the village holding improvised weapons. "Bah, you're still going to die. What are you waiting for to kill them? But for daring to go against me, take the women so that we can sell them in the market. Maybe then they'll realize who they're messing with." Rato told his army that he just smiled and was about to take another step when they felt a huge amount of ki coming through the air, which made it hard for everyone to breathe. "Where does this come from? It's not evil enough to be the Kyugi, but it still seems to come from my team," thought Kakashi, confused, but then he was surprised by what he saw, because standing in the middle of the bridge was Naruto, releasing a lot of ki and chakra that now surrounded him in a form that looked almost like an armor after it was formed. The chakra bulged around his hands, and soon 4 feet of green chains made purely of chakra came out of his hands. Although what scared everyone the most was when Naruto looked at them, and they saw dark red eyes with a distorted that looked like a swirl in a cat's eye that was pure black. These eyes practically glowed with chakra and anger, causing everyone to feel a form of cold sweat. "I'm going to kill the bastards," Naruto said in a demonic voice, and then disappeared from everyone's eyes except Kakashi. Zabuza then appeared right in front of one of them, slamming the chakra chains against the man, but instead of just hitting him, they cut his body as if nothing, left holes in the chest of him and the 3 men behind him. After that, there was a short period of time where all that could be seen was blood in different places within the group, while an enraged Naruto continued fighting. Finally, although after a few minutes, all that was left of the army of thugs were body parts and pools of blood, a sight that made most civilians look the other way. Of course, Kakashi, Sakura, and the now awakened Sasuke could only look at their blonde teammate who appeared in front of the massacre area. While looking at them with Suki backing away, but the chakra and red eyes still present, then calmly walked back to the group. Not realizing that Sakura was basically scared seeing the bloody Naruto coming towards him after all. To her right now he seemed to be the ultimate killing machine. Of course, instead of even talking to them, he walked over to the downed Aku and bent over to check his pulse. Well, that was all Naruto muttered before completely falling over as his consciousness faded away. Is sensei, what just happened? Sakura asked, still scared. I'm not sure, Sakura, but we won. So, Tazuna, how about we bring Naruto back to your house to rest while we finish building the bridge and clean up this mess? Kakashi told him with a smile in his eyes. Okay, but what about Zabuza's apprentice? I mean, it looks like the blonde Gaki. Ninja seems to be quite friendly with the masked ninja. Tazuna asked curiously. Well, I guess we'll have to decide later. After all, Sasuke is still alive, and Zabuza was killed, so who knows what the guy will do. So, for now, we'll just put a cloth over the wound so you don't bleed before we find out what you're planning to do next. Kakashi said that he then created 3 shadow clones, one to pick up Naruto gently, and another clone to pick up Aku. While the other used a fire and water jutsu to get rid of the blood and bodies, and to pick up Zabuza's body and sword for the reward. Although while doing this, all the villagers quickly realized that they were finally free from the tyranny of Gato, and started cheering finally. After a couple of minutes, they all returned to the village mainly to start a celebration, and partially to get away from the bloody scene. After a few minutes, Kakashi finished his cleaning job, and also returned to the village but quickly left his students at Tazuna's house, and asked some of the villagers to go and ransack the Gato mansion of all its contents. A task in which he helped not only to bring the village to life, but also to collect some of the money to get the payment they should have received for the most difficult task, of course, in the end. The villagers also gave him several boxes of weapons and products that had no use to bring back to Konoha. Along with just the right amount of money, of course, they were also more than happy to give him a pretty big tip of the money after all. They will most likely work until they die without the ninja even after that. Although there were more than enough products and money to keep the village thriving for several years. And even a huge amount of food for the party. Yes. Now let's get this party started. A random villager shouted, receiving applause from the rest of them when they returned with the loot from their looting. But first, let's make sure to thank the people who made it possible for us to celebrate this day. The ninja of Konoha. Inari said happily, getting another round of applause from everyone, and with that, everyone started having fun knowing that they were finally not under the horrible rule called cat. Inari was with all the other kids, bragging about how he knew the kid, while the other kids were listening to him, completely focused on his childish conversation. Meanwhile, his mom was happily chatting with some of the village women about random matters with a smile on her face, just as happy as Inari. Meanwhile, Tazuna was drinking with a big group of guys, all happily discussing, talking and doing random things seemingly without for nothing in the world. Although Kakashi and Sakura were just eating and trying to have fun, while waiting for their friends to heal quickly. Kakashi-sensei, do you think Naruto and Sasuke are going to heal completely? Sakura asked, worried about her teammates. After all, Naruto seemed to be practically unharmed. Sasuke had a lot of injuries and damage from hundreds of needle sticks to deal with, even if Naruto is a baka, and after he showed us that side of him, he's still our teammate and a good friend if he would stop trying to date me. I mean, I like Sasuke, but man, what was that? The side of Naruto. He was so strong in that fight, I couldn't take my eyes off him. Who was going to say that it was so good? I wonder what he's hiding under his baggy jacket. No. Bad thoughts, Sakura. You like Sasuke, not Naruto. Sakura thought, just like in my other story, I have no idea what to do with the pairings, so I will make them as I go, which will keep the mystery for you. Therefore, I also leave my options open for people. Well, Naruto, knowing that his special healing ability should be almost completely healed in probably about an hour or two or a day at most, Although for Sasuke, he is not the same, so he will probably be out of service for a while. Although it should not have any side effects on the needles. Because it seems that their goal was to immobilize him instead of killing him or harming him too much. So don't worry, try to have fun, and before you know it, everyone will be healed, and I will train you on Earth. Kakashi told her that it made her shake involuntarily, but she refuses to lose another team. So now she decided to focus more on making sure they can handle themselves. Thank you. That was all Sakura could tell them without knowing if what she said scared her or helped her more. At Tazuna's house. Come on, we need to change these guys' bandages. She told Tsunami to one of her friends who offered to help her. Yes, I know. The woman said that then she made a little squeal although. Thank you for inviting me to see two of the heroes of Wave, said the girl in the form of a fan. You realize that they are teenagers and you are close to 20, right? Tsunami told him. Yes, I know. But it's still good to see the people who did so much for us. Although you really need to stop thinking so perversely, Tsunami-chan. The girl told Tsunami that she was only sweating with this year one to talk. He muttered, but kept walking towards the fallen ninja anyway. Of course, they went to see Aku first, whose wound finally stopped bleeding. But they just changed the bandages as fast as possible, and left the room quickly in case it turned out that Aku was still an enemy. And woke up after Aku finished. They quickly entered Naruto and Sasuke's room where both boys were sitting on separate beds with Sasuke covered with bandages because while the two boys were recovering, Sasuke was the only one who had real physical wounds. Looks like the poor kid went through hell. Tsunami's friend muttered as she started to change Sasuke's bandages. Yes, but unfortunately they are ninjas. They will be dealing with this and much more for many years to come. What a horrible life to live. Tsunami clearly told her that she felt upset because little kids have to live such a life. Of course, after they said this, Tsunami's friend finished taking off the bandages. And was glad to see that most of the wounds seemed to have healed enough that they wouldn't bleed if he moved. So instead of the thick layered bandage, he replaced it with just a thin wrap. However, said wrap was more out of precaution than anything else. Finally, after they were done with Sasuke, they went to check on Naruto, only to hear him moaning something that really surprised both of them. As his teacher said that it would most likely take a few days for him to recover. I thought you said you both shouldn't wake up soon. Tsunami's friend told her with curiosity when she heard Naruto. His teacher told me that he was seriously injured and that he had to spend a lot of his chakra to heal. So, I do not know why it seems that he will wake up soon when Kakashi-san said that he should have chakra exhaustion. Maybe we should look for Kakashi-san. After all, I'm sure Naruto-kun will have a lot of questions to ask. Tsunami tells her friend, and then they quickly leave the room to find Kakashi to tell her and to see if they can get some answers to. Of course, it took quite some time to do so with the massive party going on. Finding said man took a while. But they finally found the place where he and Sakura were sitting. Kakashi-san, Naruto seems to be waking up. Although, how is it possible? You told me you'd both be gone for a while, so how can he be close to waking up? Well, I told you the truth, but it's a special case that even I don't fully understand. You see, ever since he was a kid, he's had what can only be called an extreme healing rate. Cut that last one to normal people. A few days heal in minutes for him. So, he was only giving them an answer if he was a normal person with his problems. Now, if you guys don't need me anymore, I think we'll go check on him. Come to Sakura. Oh, and thanks for telling me. Kakashi told them, and Sakura left expecting her to follow him, something of course he did quickly. After making a quick bow to the two older women, finally when they got there they saw Naruto sitting looking really confused. How are you feeling? Kakashi asks with a smile in his eyes. Fine, but where are we? And now that I think about it, how did I do this? Naruto asked, looking at them, giving both of them, which gave them a chance to look into his eyes, something that made Sakura gasp in surprise. And Kakashi's eyes widen a little. Naruto, before I answer your questions, I want to ask you what happened to your eyes. But don't worry, we are in a safe place. Kakashi told him. My eyes? Naruto asked confused, then walked up to the mirror in the room, and also gasped in shock. What happened to my eyes? Naruto asked, just as confused when he saw what they did. Why his pupils, which were once big blue circles like everyone else's, have now transformed to look like two swirls of blue. And the pupils have completely vanished. So even you don't know, Kakashi muttered to himself, and then decided to ask Naruto about a theory he hoped was wrong. Naruto, do you think this new change has anything to do with your special problem? Kakashi asked, knowing that Naruto knew about the Kyuubi, but didn't want Sakura to find out. Naruto simply said, still confused, until he finally realized what his sensei was talking about. No, I don't think it's because I used this Yazi chakra problem at the same time. Besides, the last time I used the chakra, I didn't feel like that. And I'm sure he would. I have known if it was because of my special chakra. Naruto said, making Kakashi sigh a little relieved, but he was hidden from view because of his mask. Besides, Futsubit wouldn't do something like this without trying to get something in return. Naru thought, but refrained from saying it because he didn't want Sakura to know about the Kyuubi yet either. Chakra problem. Naruto, since when do you have a problem with your chakra? Sakura asked, remembering how much Naruto loved using jutsus over and over, not to mention that he always seemed to not be fatigued by it. Well, I have a problem where, the massive amounts of chakra have built up when I don't use it enough, and sometimes bursts come out from time to time. Then ruining my control, but helping my strength and speed. Yes, that's it. Naruto told him, happy that he had found what he thought was a good enough lie to use. Naruto always seems to be in good health, and I've never heard of even cages having it. So, this seems a little suspicious. Well, maybe I should research the disease or whatever at the library. When we get back. Sakura started planning in her mind, not happy that she didn't know at least something about this, even when she was practically a living library of ninja information. Okay, so I guess we'll have to check it out when we get back home. But for now, let me answer your questions with a brief explanation of what happened. Kakashi told them that interrupting the conversation might cause Naruto to accidentally tell his teammate about the Kyuubi. Also went through all the events, as he wasn't sure how much Naruto would remember then, for starters. We are in the Wave Village again trying to get Sasuke to our customer's house. We also have the masked ninja here, but that's not that important until he wakes up. Now the village is celebrating in the loss of the oppression of Gato, something in which you contributed greatly, Kakashi told Naruto by answering all his questions. After thinking about the story for a moment, Naruto got up from the bed he was lying on and quickly changed. Then went with his team to enjoy the party after quickly checking on Sasuke. Of course, he also wanted to see Aku, but Kakashi clearly wasn't planning on letting that happen. Until the man was deemed harmless to them. Same end of the mission of the same wave. After the party, everything happened pretty fast. Sasuke woke up after a few days, still a little sore. The bridge was built quickly with everyone helping, and soon it was time for the ninjas to return home. Although the talk they had with Aku when he woke up was interesting. Flashback. Ugh, what happened? Aku growled, and then noticed the fact that he was tied up and the Konoha ninjas were in front of him. I guess we lost. Aku clearly asked, already knowing the answer. Yes, you did, and Zabuza is dead. Kakashi told him bluntly. Kill me then. I have no reason to live now that my master is dead. Akul said without any emotion in his voice. What? No. We're not going to kill you. I know that if you come with us to Konoha, they are always looking for lineages. And I'm sure you can live a pretty good life there and see how technically you're not even a ninja from any village yet. Kakashi-sensei, you're okay with that, right? Naruto told him, almost shouting the first part in annoyance. Of course, this just made Aku think, I guess it could work. But no, I just couldn't get used to not having a master, but then again Naruto-kun beat me, so I guess I could be his slave now. Then I can keep my friend and my life. Haku thought that he could not help the submission to others that he felt, although it was normal for someone to want to be his own person. That natural trait was forced to abandon him for most of his life, so, instead of trying to deal with that drastic change, He made a decision and returned to focusing on the ninja in front of him. Okay, Naruto, I think we could try to bring him back with us if he wants to go, Kakashi said to Naruto with a sigh as the blonde encouraged him. Bringing Hakuzen back is moderately dangerous, but fortunately he's not strong enough to easily cause a huge amount of damage in the village if this fails. After all, the Anbu should be able to subdue him with just a few problems, and on the plus side, the village will get another powerful bloodline to use. Kakashi easily thinks about pushing the rewards stopping Aku in Konoha over the risks, but in the end, the Hokage would have the last word. So, do you want to come back to us? Naruto asked Aku again. Yes, Naruto-sama. He told Aku that he just thought that none of the genin seemed to notice the Sama part, and that Kakashi didn't care to investigate it instead. He just let Naruto untie Aku and quickly placed a seal of his chakra pressure on the teenager because he agreed to let the boy come back to them didn't mean that he trusted him at that moment. Flashback and skipping the ending with teary eyes seeing that it's the same as the anime except for the fact that Aku is with them. Goodbye. The Konoha ninjas told the crowd one last time, and then quickly left to reach their village with Aku following them. Of course, after they left, one of the other villagers approached Tazuna to ask the question that everyone would have very soon. Hey Tazunazen, what will the bridge be called now? Well, I think we could name it after those guys, but the name would be too long. And we can't use one of their names, I mean, they all did something to help us. Wait, I know, we'll call it the Hope of the Wave. Because that's exactly what it is. Tazuna told everyone around him happily that he was thinking of a pretty Team 7 name, Aku. Team 7 and Aku were traveling quietly, not seeing any need to talk at that moment. Instead, Team 7 was happy to have made it out of the most difficult mission alive, while Seku was busy thinking about his future. I hope they will allow me to live in their village. I mean, the mist hate me because of my lineage, and instead of killing me, they constantly tortured me to a slow death. But I don't want to go through that again. I just don't do it. I do not know what will happen, but if that happens again, I will make sure to put an end to it quickly. Aku thought with a little shiver, remembering all the problems he had with the fog, but then he looked at Naruto. Even though Naruto could actually help me, who knows, maybe she's a perfect person for me though. Can I trust him with my secret? I mean, when Zabuza realized, he immediately wanted me to hide it, and I did my best, but it's really hard to hide it. Maybe he'll be the one to accept me even with what Zabuza calls my problem bothered. Well, I guess I'll find out eventually. But for now I'll just make sure to keep the suicide pill I've hidden handy until I'm sure it's safe. I mean, since I can't use chakra, and I don't have my weapons, it's the only defense I have. Aku thought sadly, but he followed the Konoha ninja anyway. After all, I was lost trying to think about what to do if this idea goes south. I wonder what the new problem with my eyes is going to be. I mean, I don't feel any different right now, but... And if it's something serious, wait, the fluffball doesn't hurt me much. How long before it's not bad, or it's so bad that even he can't cure it? Wait, now that I think about it, why does he bother to cure me if he hates me and wants to get free? He would die, he would eventually be reborn in the world, right? I guess I'll have to ask him about it in our next discussion. Naruto thought as he jumped from tree to tree. Meanwhile, Kakashi was also lost in his own thoughts. Naruto said that the power he showed on the bridge was a combination, so it can't be because of the fox. But, what could it be? I mean, the last time I saw chakra chains was with Sensei's love, Kushina, Uzumaki. Wait, that means it might be possible. He is the son of Naruto-sensei that he had with Kushina. Kakashi screamed in his own mind when he realized that Naruto not only looked like Minato but also had the chakra chains that only Kushina seemed to have. It seems that the Hokage has a lot to explain, Kakashi added before deciding to focus on the present, as he couldn't get any answers at that moment. So, with this story, Kakashi doesn't know that Naruto is Minato's son, and although it's pretty obvious, most people just choose to ignore his resemblance due to the hatred towards the Kyuubi. With abilities to hide without understanding why, fearing that the ninjas would come after his family. watching his family die and fight each other when the bloodlines were discovered. Overall, it was far from a good time. Konoha, finally, we are back. Come on, Kakashi-sensei, can we get some ramen before we go to see Ojizan? Please, we can. Naruto begged Kakashi as soon as they passed through the door, making Kakashi smile at the blonde's actions. Sorry, Naruto, but we have to give the mission report now, but after that, if you want to go get some food, I have no problem. Kakashi said to him, simply making Naruto cheer happily. For God's sake, Naruto, you're always thinking about ramen. Sakura complained, making the blonde guy turn towards her, but the smile never left her face. Yes, of course, it is the food of the gods or of God or whatever, but anyway it is so good that it deserves everyone's attention. Naruto told him, somehow keeping the big smile plastered on his face the whole time. After that, they all went to the quest room to deliver their team report, with Aku still following them. Today, Okusan, we are back. Naruto happily called Sarutobi. Hello Naruto-kun, Team 7. Sarutobi told them with a little smile on his old face, and then he noticed Naruto's eyes, so he finally woke him up. He simply thought, and then pretended not to notice. Instead, he listened while the team gave a verbal report of the mission and its drastic changes. Until they finally understood the reason why Aku was behind them. So, Aku, do you want to become a citizen, and eventually a ninja of our village? Sarutobi asked the nervous person in the corner of the room. Yes, Okage-sama, was all Aku said. Okay, so why should we allow you to do that? After all, even though you're not a missing ninja, you're still Zabuza's accomplice. Well, Hokage-sama, I worked with Zabuza S because he saved my life. True, when I was younger, I lived in a place where bloodlines were persecuted and destroyed. And because I had a bloodline to control the ice, of course I hated my clan. In fact, I might very well be the last member of my clan, but I have no idea if this is true or not. But I do know that having me in the village would give Konoha a new bloodline. I have some skill in civilian medicine, and I think I will be able to use an acceptable level of healing jutsu, if I get the proper training. Finally, seeing that it was Naruto-sama who hit me, I feel that it is necessary for me to become his weapon. Therefore, I need to stay close to him if possible. Aku explained, surprising everyone present. Wait for him. Naruto screamed when he heard this, and it looked like he was going to say more until they heard a, "Man, you really are an interesting person. So, we'll tell you one thing. We'll turn you into a civilian, and after a few months of supervision, I'll let you train to be a medical ninja. Also, since you seem to be close to Naruto-kun here, I'll even make sure you have an apartment near him. So why don't you go to the Civil Registration Center and register with this stamp of approval from me? Oh, and take one of my Anbu to show you the way." Saratov told Aku, happily handing his recently called Anbu a sealed letter to deliver to Aku. After only a few minutes of writing said letter, the two left the room after bowing in respect to the Hokage. Okay, that was interesting, Kakashi said with a smile in his eyes, and then he got serious. Then, Hokage-sama, I'm sure he sees what happened to Naruto's eyes. And now he knows what happened on the bridge. So, do you have any idea what could have caused this? He asked completely seriously. Yes, I know what happened, but how about we take this conversation to a more private place? Saratov told them that he then went to his office expecting to be followed, which they quickly did. Saratovi's office. Well, then Naruto, your new eyes are from your Uzumaki heritage. You will see that the Uzumaki are known for their chakra chains that no one else seems to master, even though many have tried. Although this was not because they were skilled, but because of their bloodline. Something that has been kept secret on purpose throughout history. Now they all had the swirl in their irises that showed them as true Uzumaki, although most of them used genjutsu to hide this, so that foreigners would never find out. The coils of the chakras look normal, they really have a much more special system. Because your chakra is denser, leaving your already large chakra coils to contain much more chakra. But you will have less control over them, which will make you have to work harder to make greater use of them, Chakra said. As for the chains, here is a scroll from your mother, containing a letter to you, some jutsus, and other information about your inheritance. Sarutobi explained to Naruto that he was paralyzed by the shock. Do you mean I'm from a clan? Naruto shouted in surprise, and only got a nod in return after that. Naruto happily took the scroll. He put some blood on the seal, opened it and started reading to my son. Naruto, if you're reading this, it means he passed away. Now I'm really sorry I couldn't watch you grow up anyway. I left this note to Sarutobi just in case so you can hear some of our clan's information now. I don't want to get into that right now. But it will be at the end of this letter now, son. I want you to live a happy life, and make sure you follow the path of the clans, although I hope you learn some of my jutsus and styles. As well as your parents, just make sure you can do their characteristic movements, the Rasengan and the Yashin. As these movements will help you become famous, and if they force you to get Kra, make sure you love them all equally or I will come back to life and kick your ass. I love you, my son. Your loving mother, Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto read, surprising him even more. I am the son of the 4th Hokage, and one of the most feared Kunoichi. Naruto shouted in surprise, surprising the rest of the people present. So, he was right, thought Kakashi happily. Damn, I didn't think she'd put that in her letter. Okay, so Naruto is the truth, but I couldn't tell you because they both had a lot of enemies who wanted to kill you. So, please, understand. Sarutobi told Naruto, in the hope that the boy he thought was his grandson wouldn't hate him. Well, I guess I get it, but can we tell people now that I'm a ninja? Naruto asked after thinking about it for a while. No. You're not strong enough right now, although I guess we have to at least tell the council. But anyone else can't do it until I say so. Which, hopefully, will be around Chunny's test. So, anyway, I'll get back to you. Come back here sometime next week for that meeting, just so we can use your eyes as proof. Sarutobi said happily, thinking that Naruto would stop thinking now, just because he needed some time to think about how to handle Naruto. Now knowing the truth. Okay, but one last question. Naruto told him a little sheepishly, which surprised the old Hokage. I'm sure Naruto is asking. Sarutobi asked now with curiosity to know what he would ask. Of course, Naruto blushed a little, and then asked his question to Why did mom say I could have more than one girlfriend, and that's Ka? Naruto asked, still blushing at the thought of having more than one girlfriend. Well, you see that craze. Sarutobi started to tell him, trying to think of a way to tell the guy without surprising him too much. Kanaku, it's okay that I just complete. I'm officially going to be part of the village. The receptionist told Aku, who thanked them, and then sat down to fill out the paper. Let's see, name, age, date of birth. It seems simple enough, Aku thought, filling out the paper quickly, then came to the only question he had to think about. Until he finally made a decision, and checked the place, telling everyone his secret. Male, female, sex X. Is that? Naruto shouted, blushing. I said what I meant, Naruto. The Kra is that you marry more than one girl so that you can rebuild your clan. For now, it will only be the Uzumaki clan, but I hope that soon we will be able to combine it with the Namikaze clan later on. Sarutobi said to the still surprised boy now, why don't you go home and get some sleep to digest the information I just told you? Sarutobi told Naruto that he simply nodded and started his journey home with the idea of burying his ramen now under his own thoughts. Meanwhile, Kakashi just looked at Sarutobi with a funny look on his face. You're planning to see how Naruto's life in Konoha goes now, aren't you? Kakashi asked quickly, making the old Kage smile a little. Oh yeah, and maybe we'll have to call Jiraiya to get some ideas for her books from this. Sarutobi told one of the only people who knew about his hobby of reading his students' books in private. Of course, Kakashi just gave the Kage a smile and left Sarutobi's office, forcing the said Kage to go back to work on his paperwork. When Naruto finally got home, he noticed that Aku was also entering the apartment building. So, he called his new friend. Hey, Aku, how did it go with the check-in? Well, Naruto-sama, I am officially a resident of Konoha. Besides, I easily passed the civilian medical exam, so in a few days, I will be able to work there too. Aku happily told him, that's great. Now, how about we get you settled in your new apartment? Naruto asked, and then opened the door of Aku's apartment, only to see that it was empty. Wait for him. Naruto asked, confused to see that he thought that all the rooms had things like his. Well, Naruto, this was the cheapest apartment ad in Konoha, so I took it. The only problem is that all the furniture was so old that it could no longer be used. So the owner of the apartment had to buy new things, but apparently he did not have time. So I have to buy it myself. Of course, everything you used to buy it will count as rent, but it will still take time. So, I'll go get the furniture tomorrow, but for now I have to sleep on the floor. Haku told her that he then tried to enter her house, but Naruto stopped him by grabbing her by the shoulder. Nonsense. Until you get your furniture, you can stay with me. You can have the bed and I'll take the sofa. Naruto said to Aku, trying to be nice, and then he remembered something. Oh, and don't call me Naruto-sama, I'm not your teacher. Just call me Naruto-kuno something because we're friends. Naruto told him with a smile, and then entered his apartment, taking Aku with him, and soon they were both getting ready for bed. Of course, when Aku finished changing, he decided to walk to the living room to say goodnight to his teacher friend. Goodnight, Naruto-sakun, told Aku when his back was to her. Yes, good evening. Wait. What? I thought you said you were a boy. Naruto screamed in shock when he finally looked at Aku, because Aku was currently wearing a light blue nightgown that was slightly transparent, showing off his blue underwear from time to time. He also removed the bandages from his chest, allowing his decent chest to be seen now that he was settling down to go to sleep. Well, Naruto, I told you that I followed Zabuza-sama's rules, that was one of them. Apparently, it was because he thought people wouldn't take me seriously as a missing accomplice ninja. Something sexist like that. Aku said to him, a little annoyed, as he remembered the time he spent with his father figure. I guess that makes sense. Good evening, Aku-chan. Naruto told him, blushing a little about the idea of having a girl sleeping so close to him, and even in his bed. Besides, she wasn't that bad either, although she finally fell asleep, thinking about all the new clan things she will learn now. Meanwhile, Aku was also having trouble sleeping. This is so strange. Being without you, Zabuza-sama, I mean it was you who taught me everything I know. Haku thought sadly, then perked up a bit with his next thought, but now I have Naruto-kun, and he seems to be a good Roy. So maybe it's one of the things I've always wanted, but could never have. A best friend, and maybe later it will become something else I've always wanted to. Aku thought semi-happily, and then went to sleep, thinking about future hopes. But the next day when Naruto finally woke up, he enjoyed something he had never had before. Someone who prepares a homemade meal for him, and for them. Good morning, Naruto-kun. I made breakfast for both of us. Although I had some trouble seeing that most of your food supplies are instant ramen. Aku told him that he then handed him his share of eggs and bacon. Thank you, Aku-chan, Naruto said with a big smile, and then started eating. So, how long until you become a medical ninja? Naruto asked while chewing. Well, I think it should only be a month or two, as I'm pretty sure I can learn it pretty quickly. But it all depends on Hokage-sama's decisions, since I'm still on probation. Haku told him with a small shrug of his shoulders. Oh, okay, so well, I'm sure the old man will turn you into a medical ninja in no time. Just be patient. Naruto said to him, making a slight smile appear on his lips. Thanks, Naruto-kun. Now hurry up and go to your team meeting. Oh, and I'll come get you when it's lunchtime. That way we'll make sure you eat something better than the instant ramen you look like. Of course, Naruto meant that ramen was supreme, but even he had to admit that a home-cooked meal would be better than store-bought ramen. So instead, he just smiled at Aku and finished his meal before leaving the store. Door with a quick goodbye. Meeting for once, Kakashi arrived only half an hour late, so they quickly started the meeting. Well, guys, after doing that mission, I have decided to give you a 2-day break. So, after 2 days, come back here for some easier D-rank missions and some training. Kakashi told them simply with a smile in his eyes. And Arigato-sensei, happily shouted Naruto, and then ran to a training camp. It is possible that the council is forcing me to put the Uchi team in the Chunin exams, although they still lack teamwork. But I can use the time I have left to make sure he doesn't die. Don't hurt yourselves too much, Kakashi thought, and then left the area, leaving Sakura and Sasuke alone. Oh great, here we go again. She's gonna try to ask me out again. Phew, when will she realize that I can't use her to rebuild my clan until I kill my brother? Sasuke thought, and then prepared himself to say no, but to his surprise, she didn't even speak to him instead. He just walked away thinking about the recent events. Well, that was different. Sasuke thought, surprised as he watched her leave, and then went to training. Although if one thought about it more, they would be really surprised that none of the teenagers were upset. Because not only did they have to get up early, but they also had to wait for half an hour. Just to be told that they have time to themselves. When Naruto arrived at one of the village's training camps, he quickly opened the scroll again. And started working on his projects. Plus a couple more hours later. Hi, so, what are we going to learn today, Kureina and Sensei? A new one. He started to ask that. He was excited until he saw the training ground that surprised each one of them. All over the training ground, there were cut trees, rocks with holes, and even some cuts in the ground. Besides, right next to the small river, there was a blond boy who seemed to be concentrating on the water in front of him. Although they soon saw why when the water he was looking at began to spin, forming a small whirlpool, until he took his eyes off her. And slowly stopped her. Today, what are you doing? Kiba asked as they approached him, although Kiba was really surprised when he finally realized that the man in front of him was none other than Naruto. Kiba screamed, surprised to see that Naruto looked so different without his classic jacket. Even Kiba had to admit that without the horrible-looking jacket, Naruto looks like a real ninja with his muscular figure partially visible under his Maria hauberk. In fact, those who have actually seen his father would think that they were basically twins by ignoring the whiskers. Oh hey guys. Sorry for using your area, but I couldn't wait to try my new jutsus. Naruto told them, rubbing the back of his neck in shame. Which of course made Hinata blush a little more as she couldn't take her eyes off Naruto's slim body, of course. Before they could respond to Naruto, they saw a beautiful girl in a dark blue kimono running past them to give Naruto a hug. Which of course made Kiba jealous. Naruto-sama, I got the job. Aku happily told him that he was still holding him until he noticed that they had company. Oh hello, Aku said to them, releasing Naruto and giving them a small bow. Guys, let me introduce you to Aku-chan, who just became a resident of Konoha and my new neighbor. She is also quickly making her way to become an American ninja. Naruto told them, giving them a quick explanation of who she and Aku were. These are Kiba, Shino, and Kurenai. One of the best genin tracking equipment in Konoha. Naruto said, pointing at each of the people he introduced. Hello Aku-chan. Now, how about you and I go to lunch to get to know each other better? Kiba asks, trying to flirt with her. I'm sorry, but I can't. I was just cooking lunch for Naruto-sama and myself when I got the call from the hospital. Anyway, it was nice to meet you all, but we have to have lunch before it gets too cold, Aku politely told her, of course, before anything else could be said, Kureina, and started looking at Naruto. She clearly didn't like the fact that Aku was calling Naruto-sama. Wait, Kureina, and it's not what you think. We are just friends, but my team found her after beating her last master in the wave. So for some reason, he has decided to call me Sama, even though I told him to call me Kun, told Naruto, sweating a little, knowing that Kureina and she doesn't like any guy who is perverted, and a girl calling you Sama was apparently in her eyes. Is that so? Kurenai clearly asked without believing that Naruto. Fortunately, he thought that Aku decided to save Naruto. Yes, that's correct. You see, I was the accomplice of a missing ninja, and Naruto was the one who beat me up, so I decided that now that my old teacher is dead, I would follow Naruto instead. Aku told her, and fortunately, that seemed to calm down when she said this, although she was still not very happy with the idea. Okay then, bye guys. Naruto told them that he then left with Aku following him home so he could go eat. Of course, no one noticed the fact that Hinata seemed to be staring at Aku for quite some time. Another girl is trying to get in the way of my being with Naruto-kun. I really need to pick up my game now before one of these girls beats me up and manages to win Naruto's heart, but what should I do? Hinata thought, while still looking in the direction where Aku was going. Okay, so let's get to work on our own training. Karena, and told them, and then started telling them what they were going to do this time. More the next day in the afternoon more. Sasuke was angry. Did he just find out that Aku was a girl, and now he basically called Naruto his teacher? Why can that have that strong and attractive ice user as a slave? She should be mine. I mean, I know I promised myself that I would kill my brother before restarting my clan. But the hell, I have to make sure none of the girls in this town who will produce strong babies will be taken by Naruto before it's too late. I want to say first a Yuga, now an ice user. Which clan is next? Sasuke ranted in his mind, heading towards Aku's apartment. When he got there, he quickly knocked on the door. And soon Aku opened, wondering what he wanted. Hi, Ice-san user, I have some great news for you. You have decided to be the first girl to help restore the Uchiha clan to its former glory. Sasuke quickly told her that he was preparing for the girl to cling to him by giving herself to him as a thank you for the honor. Of course, he was surprised by what really happened, because instead of throwing herself on him, she simply said no in a voice as cold as hell. And then closed the door in his face, leaving the surprised guy with his own thoughts after that interruption. Aku calmly walked up to one of the rooms that share a wall with Naruto's apartment and opened a hole in the wall big enough for her to walk. Aku-chan, why did you do that? Naruto asked after running to find out where all the noise was coming from. Well, Naruto-sama, I thought you might need something at any time, so instead of having to go through a door to get to you, I can walk down this hallway. Also, if you want to order something from me, you can come in my room anytime you want to tell me. Haku told him that, seeing as how in his mind Naruto was still his teacher, no matter what he said. Okay, so I guess, but this might be a little too friendly. So, can we at least put a door here? Naruto asked. Well, then that would defeat the purpose. Aku told him without showing any emotion. But isn't it appropriate for a guy to have easy access to a girl's room? I mean, aren't you afraid I'll try something? Not that I would, of course. Naruto told him, and then quickly added the last part, so that hopefully he wouldn't be considered a pervert. If that's what Naruto-sama wants, his tool should be given to him. Haku told her clearly, and then started to loosen her kimono, until Naruto quickly stopped her. Wait. There's no need for that. I was wondering, that's all. I'm happy that you trust me, so I guess this will work. Naruto said to him, blushing a little. Of course, Aku just gave him a quick smile and walked away. Great, now that I can't figure out a way to convince her to block this if I ever have people think I'm taking advantage of Aku-chan. Which I would never do. For once I'm happy that I don't have many people visiting my house. I don't want any rumors to come up about us. I mean, she just got here, she doesn't need her reputation destroyed by the devil. Naruto thought sadly then. He walked away too. But next day more. Aku, just to tell you that Grandpa wants me to attend a long meeting, so I probably won't be back for a while. Naruto told the girl that she was practically his roommate. From time to time, she left to go to the meeting. Council chamber. Why did you bring us here, Sarutobi-sama? And if you ask with curiosity, well, I've brought you all here to tell you that one of our granddaughters has brought a lineage that we haven't seen in a long time. Sarutobi told them with a small smile. Of course, after saying this, the whole council started muttering, trying to find out what the lineage was and who had it, and Sarutobi let them ponder on this. Until finally, they heard the door open again, after which everyone's eyes turned to the door to see Naruto enter the room. Which made some people's blood serve. Brat, get the hell out of here. We are waiting for the bloodline user, not a demon child like you. One of the members of the civil council shouted at Naruto, who simply looked at the person. And then quickly pulled out his favorite ranged weapon. Chakra chains that at this moment were blue due to him not putting his affinities to turn them into something that shocked the crowd. No. Can't you seriously tell me that this demon has the lineage of Kushina Uzumaki? The council member asked in disbelief. Of course, Sarutobi just smiled and decided to tell the council that he could trust Naruto's secret with a warning, of course. Yeah, he somehow got the bloodline now. Since it's a shinobi matter, we don't need all of you in the civil council. So please get out of this room. Sarutobi told them, and then watched them leave, muttering about how unfair it was that only ninjas heard how the demon got his powers. Oh. Yes, we don't need the Council of Elders in this matter either, as it's not that important for the actual functioning of Konoha. He continued with a satisfied smile as he happily watched the rest of the less reliable people leave the room, although as soon as everyone left, the room was secured to make sure no one could fall, and then he prepared to explain Naruto's heritage. Okay, just to make sure you all know that what is being said here today is a WS class secret, and telling anyone without permission is punishable by death. Sarutobi told them, and then watched them as they nodded their heads, showing that they understood. Now I know you guys may not believe this, but Naruto is actually the last known Uzumaki. Sarutobi continued to tell them, surprising them. Wait, but the last one was Kushina, who seemed to have only eyes on. Wait, you mean? It can really be. I thought you gave him the name Uzumaki to give an easy reason. Why the village, not a story about him? Shikaku asked in total shock. Whose son is Shikaku? Inoichi asked his old friend, unable to understand why his pert and indifferent normal friend, who was now so shocked and crazy. Yes, Naruto's name is incomplete. It's actually Naruto Uzumaki Nekima's son of Kushina Uzumaki G. Minato Namikaze. Sarutobi said, surprising them all. Come to think of it, how did we not realize this? I mean, look at the kid, he's practically a Minato clone, except for the mustaches, with all Kushina's personality. Inoue asked, making everyone look at Naruto, realizing the same thing. Okay, so what is this lineage you were talking about? Tsume asked now with curiosity. Well, actually it will be easier to see it. So, Naruto-kun, could you please show them to him again? He asked Saruto and Naruto, who simply created a couple of chakra chains once again and made them hang from the palm of his hands. A few moments until he reabsorbed them. Yeah, basically with Naruto's thicker chakra, he can create whatever he wants as long as he has enough chakra. And with the fact that you now have an unlimited source of chakra that is rapidly expanding its spirals, you can quickly become. Sarutobi began. He was then interrupted by Shikaku, one of the greatest ninjas that ever existed. An indestructible force capable of destroying armies like his father. Shikaku muttered with wide eyes as he realized this. Of course, this statement also surprised everyone else in the room except Sarutobi, who already realized that Naruto was destined to become a great ninja. So, to put it in simpler terms, Naruto now has a huge chakra mass thanks to the Uzumaki clan. And the beast that was sealed inside him. He should also be more than capable of using the skills and techniques that the Uzuki are known for. Because as well as the characteristic movements of his father, which makes him already have a lot of space to become an amazing ninja. Although thinking logically, we must make sure that the Uzumaki clan is able to survive, which means that Naruto should be put under the Ka. Just like Sasuke. Shino's father told the group that it logically caused Tsume to complain a bit about the last part. Of course, everyone agreed with Shino's father's statement, and the meeting ended when Naruto was promised now a position of clan head. When he becomes a honey and is forced to be in Kra then. The still surprised and blushing boy left with a scroll that said that on the paper. Back to the apartment. Hey Yaku, I'm at home, Naruto shouted but got no response. Even though he called loud enough that someone could hear him from almost anywhere in the house. I guess he's out or something. Well, I guess I'll leave him a note, telling him that I'll probably be out all day, as I really need to do some serious training to get clear my mind a little bit, Naruto said to himself, and then quickly left, leaving the note stuck on the front door of Aku's apartment with his name, and then left. Aku was just walking around the village enjoying the warmth of the mid-afternoon sun, until she heard someone running closer to her. Ayaku-kun. How are you in your new life? Sakura asks when she finally caught up to Aku, who surprised the girl by just turning around that. So, are you Seku-chan? Sarukura asks confused as he noticed that Aku's figure was more feminine now. Yes, Sakura-san, I hid my real sex from them, just because that's what I was told to do all my life. But I can assure you that I am definitely a girl. Aku told him, hoping that he wouldn't have to explain it completely again. Oh, okay then, Sakura said to him, still a little confused. So, anyway, how are you doing so far? Sakura asked, deciding not to worry about that. Well, I guess it's been pretty good. I mean, I got an apartment quickly thanks to Hokage-sama. And I have enough money from before to survive until I can become a medical ninja. Haku said to him, smiling. Of course, that made Sakura happy too. Well, if you're going to be a ninja like us soon, how about we get you together with some of us at a big sleepover to warm up the house? I mean, we'll all contribute, so you don't have to worry about spending too much food and such, so how does it sound? Sakura asked excitedly. Are you sure? Why not then? Aku told him with a shrug of his shoulders. Great, so I'll go tell the others, and I'll meet you at your place at 8, see you later. Sakura said to him, and then ran away, but quickly returned. Where exactly is your house anyway? Sakura asks, laughing embarrassed. Of course, this only made Aku laugh a little. Then he quickly told Sakura where he lived, and then he saw her running out to talk to the other girls as quickly as possible. Aku Naruto's apartment. 8 p.m. Aku had just arrived at his apartment when he noticed Sakura returning with other girls carrying various items. And Yaku, let me introduce you to Ino. And Nata and Tenten. My friends Jenny. And girls, this is Seku, the girl I was telling you about. Sakura introduced herself to everyone. Yeah, they're friends on this now. I mean, how teams never meet. It seems a little ridiculous that they never do. Besides, Ino and Sakura are friends, just rivals really. Hi, I just got home. So, do you want to come in? Haku asked, a little uncomfortable, seeing that he had never had girlfriends or girlfriends before. Still, they all walked to the door and found Naruto's note. What is this? Aku muttered curiously, and then read it quickly. So, what is the note about? Ino asked, being her normal curious self. Oh, it's just a message from Naruto telling me he won't be home for a while. Wait, why does Naruto-kun have to tell you this? Hinata asked without stuttering anymore now that she is completely focused on overcoming her new rival. And because no one from her clan or Naruto were around to make her nervous. Oh well, he lives right next door, and I was making meals for both of us, so I guess he told me so I wouldn't make more food than I need. Haku told them with a small shrug. Of course, they all entered Aku's apartment, looked around, and quickly noticed the hole in the wall. Don't feel like describing your apartment, so think that it looks a lot like Naruto's, just tittier, and with more feminine touch. Actually, both apartments are clean now, since Aku became Naruto's maid even though he doesn't. I don't want her to be one. Hey, Aku, Naruto's apartment is to the left of yours, right? Temtem asked, getting a simple nod as an answer. Well then. Why, and who made a hole by connecting yours with yours? He continued to point at the hole. Well, I made it so that he can come into my apartment at any time, without having to worry that my door is locked. Aku replied without seeing why they had a problem with that. Why would you do that if you're not afraid of him doing something to you? I mean, sure, he's a good kid, but he's still a kid, and, like my mom always tells me, they have a unique mind. Sakura asked in disbelief. And? I mean, he's my teacher, even if he doesn't want to be called that. So having him there allows him to quickly come and get me if he ever needs anything. Akul says, surprising them even more. Aku-chan, my friend, we really have to work on your trust if you really think you need him to give you orders. And he did not say, putting a hand on the girl's shoulder now. Of course, this was not the real reason why Aku wanted Naruto as his teacher. But she decided not to insist on the fact. Of course, after that, they all enjoyed the evening together. Even Aku, who got used to the idea of having friends. More later more. So, who wants to watch about half of Naruto? Ino asked, deciding to be nosy of course. This only made his companions curious about what Ino was thinking. While Hinata blushed a little at the thought of being in Naruto's house. And no, why do you want to go to Naruto's room? Sakura asked the nosy girl. What? I mean, Naruto is always friendly and everything, but we don't really know anything about him. So, this is the perfect time to find out more about him without having to ask him, and maybe find some juicy secrets. And he didn't explain, making the other girls curious too as she mumbled the last part to herself. She's right, I mean he's my teammate, but I don't know anything about him yet. Maybe this is a good time to learn more about him. Sakura thought, and quickly followed Ino to Naruto's apartment. Of course, they didn't have to look very hard to realize that Naruto really didn't have much in his house. The only thing they found of interest was a scroll that was carelessly thrown over his bed. Now let's see what we have here. Ino told them, then sat down on Naruto's bed and opened the scroll. Because Naruto Uzumaki is the last of the Uzumaki clan, it has been decided that he should participate in the clan restoration program, also known as Ka or Clan Restoration Act. Then Naruto should take several wives, and should impregnate at least one of them when they can safely give birth around the age of 16 now. The number of wives completely depends on the person, although he should have at least 2 before he is 16 himself. If he does not, the council will choose 2 girls to accompany him. Of course, the girls still have some option. The person under this law can't just force girls to marry him. There must be acceptance of the marriage by both parties to make it legal, unless the advice is the cause of the marriage. Now this is of importance to Naruto. The chakra molding bloodline must be reproduced, because the ability to do so, and Uzumaki's abilities, could create stronger ninjas for the future of Konoha. Decided by the Hokage and his council. And then underneath that there were a bunch of signatures making it official. Of course, after reading this out loud, all the girls were shocked to say the least. Wait until this is basically saying that Naruto-kun can marry as many girls as he wants because he has a bloodline. Wait, does Naruto have a bloodline? Sakura asks, even more surprised. Yes, I know, I really have no idea what Naruto's chakra-shaping lineage is all about. But what I really want to know is exactly how long Naruto has been with this and what he plans to do with it. Ino told them, a little annoyed by the fact that even her father agreed with this perversity. Wait, doesn't that mean Sasuke has this too? Sakura asks, simply realizing that he was one of the last members of her clan for years. Yeah, he does. So, he could have had any girl he wanted, but he still never accepted any of his fans. Maybe he'll go the other way. I mean, what guy at least wouldn't date girls when he knows that you can have as many as you want? Ino asked them. No, you don't have to worry about him being gay, because he came earlier to order me to be his first girl. But I slammed the door in his face because I have no interest in an ingested guy like him. Akul said, without noticing the envious looks coming from Sakura Ino. Of course, all this time they were talking, Hinata was busy thinking about other things. Wait, I have a better chance of getting Naruto now, don't I? I mean, will my dad let me marry a guy who has more than one girl? Man, I hope so. I want to say that I still love him even though he wouldn't. It will not only be mine. Although, could I really share my Naruto-kun with others? Hinata thought, blushing. Of course, it was at this moment that everyone was surprised to hear Naruto's front door open. Well, I guess Naruto is at home. He said simply. Yeah, well, let's wait until he hears that. I want to hear a little more about this Cray bloodline thing. Ino said to the girl, and stood staring at the door waiting for Naruto to come in. Aku-chan, I'm at home. They heard Naruto screaming, and then they heard him walking towards them. Man, these things are really hard to learn. No wonder all these clan jutsus are ranked so high. I mean, the only thing that came almost naturally to me were the chains. Although I wonder. Why? Naruto muttered as he walked around the house, then quickly opened his bedroom door, and was surprised to see several girls in his room. Of course, all the girls were momentarily shocked while looking at Naruto, because this was the first time they all saw him without his jacket. And they were surprised by how good he looked because Naruto had a perfect body thanks to his career, but now that he was showing it, he really looked good for them. Although the shock dissipated quickly, and Ino decided to ask him questions, ignoring the confusion of the blonde. "So, Naruto, since when did they put this crack thing on you?" she asked, looking at him a little. Well, the council put me on the today because of the bloodline I activated for the first time in the village of the waves. Although I don't know why they gave it to me. I mean, it's not like I'll ever use it. I mean, I'm pretty sure no one likes me more than my friends," Naruto told them, laughing a little nervously. "Besides, I doubt any girl would like me more with my special problem, even if they did." Naruto muttered, unconsciously putting his hand on where he knew the seal was. "Why? What's the matter with you?" And he didn't ask, seeing how he heard the last part. Naruto started, not knowing very well what to say as a believable lie, even though he was saved by Sakura. "Naruto, don't worry, I doubt any girl will have a problem with you even if you have a chakra problem," she told him, trying to be nice. "Oh yeah. I mean, thank you, Sakura-chan. Now if you all could get out of my room so I can go to sleep. Actually, why are you here anyway?" Naruto asked, now with curiosity. "Well, we were looking around Aku's apartment, and we walked in here, and she told us it was yours right before you came home." She quickly lied, not wanting Naruto to know that they were rummaging through her stuff. "Okay, so I guess, good night then," Naruto told them, and then he saw them coming out of his room, and quickly lay down on his bed and fell asleep, seeing that he was exhausted with all his training. Same girls, same. After everyone left Naruto's room, everyone quickly returned to Aku's room where his sleeping things were and went to bed. "Well, that was interesting." "Yes, it was, although there was a problem with what we learned," replied Ino. "What do you mean?" Sakura asked, confused, seeing that Naruto didn't seem to mind telling them anything. "He lied." "What? There's no way Naruto isn't lying." "Sakura, I hate to break it to you, but I was using one of the easiest techniques my clan teaches without him noticing. This jutsu shows brain waves so we can tell if people are lying or not. And Naruto lied when he told us about this illness of his." "Well then, maybe we should watch Naruto a bit to see if he tells us when he doesn't know we're there, or something, I guess." "I mean, you have our right? Naruto seems to be a mystery, even though he seems friendly." Sakura finished. "Yeah, I guess we'll have to. Anyway, we have things to do tomorrow, so good night everyone." Ino told them all and then tried to fall asleep after hearing them all telling each other. "Naruto-kun, even if you are hiding things, I still love you, and I will find a way to show you that there is someone who loves you. Even if you have to have more than a wife. I will love you always. I will love you even if my father disapproves." Hinata thought resolutely, and then fell asleep herself.